Hi guys, I'm back again with some more stories for you today. Let's go to the first one, about OP's wife and mother, who are manipulating OP's kids and OP's new girlfriend, so OP gets back with his ex-wife. Listen to the story to find out all the details, and of course to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, male 36, met my ex-wife, female 33, when I was 25. We fell in love, and the children came sooner than we planned. But it just happened, and I love the hell out of my children. Female 9, and male 7 and 5, and female 5. First few years of our relationship was great, but then it wasn't. Looking back, it wasn't anyone's fault. We just became very different people. After female 5, our S life became non-existent. It felt like for my wife, the purpose of S was done now that we have 3 beautiful children. After 3 years, we started having S again, in a form of mercy. It wasn't enough for me, but she told me that she is tired and busy with 3 small children. I was tired too, but I was more than prepared to make an effort to make plans and time for romance. Not only S that suffered, but even intimacy and romance. I had a vasectomy, so ex-wife didn't need to take any unnecessary hormones because we were done having children. When it started affecting our children, seeing us very irritated and cold towards each other, I thought I should man up and pull the plug. We haven't been happy or intimate since before our second was born. And we haven't had real S since we conceived our youngest. We should have ended it earlier, but the guilt of breaking the children's home was heavy until I noticed that our home was already broken, and my children aren't stupid not to see the stalemate we're trying to hold it together with. I asked for a divorce. Everyone told me I was mad and to think about the children, and it was very hard in the beginning, yes. I left the house for my ex. I rented a 2-bedroom nearby, and we started doing 1 week each. I was positively surprised at how much happier the children became seeing me happy and not easily irritated and brooding. I started seeing my girlfriend, female 40, about a year ago, and what was thought to be a casual one-time thing turned out to be the love of my life. She is amazing in every aspect, kind, loving, successful, funny, and so ducking beautiful. She is child-free and she was happy that I was done having children. On my free weeks, I can just be with her, just being me. Late breakfasts in bed, morning S, wherever I want in the home. I know it makes me sound like a selfish D-bag, but on my weeks, I give 100% because I'm content and happy with life. She has met my children too, and they adore her. Why this lengthy background? I'll tell you. My ex, and my ex-mother-in-law and my own mother behind her, has been hinting that maybe we should get back together now. The children are older, we're less tired, and we're much happier now. So we aren't going to fight all the time like we used to. She wants a real relationship too, and she will give me as much S as I wanted. Wow, is that really what she thinks I want? More mercy ducks for my sake? Think of the children. X is tired of being a single mom while I'm playing a bachelor every other week. Give them their old home back. No need for hopping from place to place. While the guilt was nagging at me, I rejected her advances and ignored her and the guilt because I'm happy for the first time in years, maybe ever. Until Friday, when my girlfriend came home crying. She asked me if maybe we should break up, and that she doesn't want to be in the way of my and my children's happiness. She asked me if I still was in love with my ex. It broke my heart to see her broken, like I didn't do a good job of showing her what she meant to me and how much I loved her. Turned out, ex-wife has contacted her telling her that she was the reason we aren't back together and the children are suffering. That we love each other, and she is my fun for now. I called my ex livid, and she called me selfish. I then told her that being a part-time dad was the best thing that ever happened to me because I'm a human, not only a father. My ex-wife started crying. I apologized for hurting her, but she hung up. Now I'm being bombed by my mom and the rest that I'm a selfish man and a terrible father. My mom even sent me a video where she asked my children how they would feel if mommy and daddy moved back together, and they were so happy, saying yes and jumping. I can't forget my daughter's face lighting up with happiness at the prospect. This video was sent to my girlfriend as well, and now she is distant and broken. I hear her cry whenever she thinks I don't hear her. Am I being wrong here? Am I being a terrible parent? What my family doesn't understand is that my children's happiness now is the result of me leaving our toxic, depressing existence. But how can you explain that to small children? According to the info OP has provided, ex-wife didn't care about the separation much until OP started getting serious with his girlfriend. She's using the children as a weapon against OP, which is horrid. She sounds like a real piece of work. I would contact my lawyer. She's trying to emotionally blackmail OP into returning and telling the children lies that will hurt them in the long run and most likely turn them against the father. That seems ridiculously callous and cruel. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. Concerned for Humans says, I would save that video and contact your lawyer about parental alienation. I would also limit contact with your mother. Sit down with your kids and explain manipulation in an age-appropriate way. Creepy Addict says, not the a-hole. Your ex-wife checked out of your relationship before you even had your third child. She didn't want to work on your relationship when you were in one. She's mad you've moved on and she hasn't. If you aren't in love with your ex, why would you get back together? H-Cats Online says, not the a-hole, but your ex and both moms are big ones. Using the kids like that is horrible. You left because your ex did not want a relationship with you. She may have thought life would be better out there. Now that she is even older and found out it is not, she's decided she wants you back. You just have to continue being a great dad to your kids. That is your first responsibility. To preface, I want to start off by mentioning that me and my 16-year-old stepson, Ricky, do not get along. He's made it clear he has one father and isn't interested in having a relationship with me, be it bad or good. He just doesn't care at all. He's one of the weirdest kids I've ever met. After selling the land I inherited from my dad, my wife managed to convince me to start a college fund for Ricky. I wasn't sure of it, till I noticed how he'd sometimes tolerate me, just because of it. So I went ahead and opened that fund and started adding money to it here and there. We still get into a lot of arguments, but at least he'd say sorry sometimes. At Christmas, I was excited when I found out that he cared enough to get me a gift. All went well, till I opened it. Turns out he took a picture of his middle finger, printed it out, and folded it and put it in a box and decorated the box with decorative paper. I was floored, especially when he began laughing along with some of my in-laws. I was pissed. I asked if he would still find it funny if I decided to cancel his college fund because of what he did. His response was this: "What, you thought respect is earned, not bought, a-hole?" I replied with, "Okay, then spending money on you is obviously useless, so I won't even bother." Then I announced in front of everyone that I had officially canceled his college fund. His mom freaked out, and he got up and stormed off. A huge argument ensued, and I was told I was wrong for reacting this way and for making a hasty decision over what my wife called fun prank. Given Ricky's response, this was not a prank. After Christmas was ruined, my wife started arguing, saying I'm taking the extreme route and warned me about further and permanent damage in my relationship with Ricky. She says he still wants the fund, although he's acting like he doesn't care, and is pressuring me to reconsider, but I said I won't. Am I the a-hole? Did I go too far? Edit. I should probably also mention that everyone around Ricky complains about him acting out as well, but when it comes to me, there's this unexplainable tension between us. He can be nice to me sometimes, but still manages to call me a name or make a backhanded comment. They say it's his personality and who he is. In my opinion, OP is definitely not in the wrong here. Even though he is 16, it is obvious he does not want a relationship with OP. Worse, he is disrespecting OP on purpose. OP doesn't owe him anything, and his mother should have taught him better manners. This is not a fun prank. Since this relationship never was and never will be, I wouldn't bother. There are many kids who go to college without college funds. He'll just have to do it the hard way. Also, I think OP has a wife problem and should ask for some respect from her and her family. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Epostoler says, he literally gift-wrapped a public FU to humiliate you at Christmas. I don't see how you can make the relationship worse. Not the a-hole. No Worries B says, I'm not sure why she and Biodad couldn't create the college fund on their own. If he wants to have no relationship whatsoever with you and can't even show a modicum of consideration or respect, it is not your responsibility to help pay for his college. He's right, respect can't be bought. But rewarding bad behavior is never good either. Not the a-hole. Gorgeous Angel Face says, not the a-hole. There wasn't much of a relationship to begin with. Ricky said it all when he said respect is earned, not bought. He's right. He has zero respect for you, and so you do not owe him anything. He is the one who further ruined the relationship with you two. Your wife is completely out of line to tolerate that disrespect and hatred towards you from her minor child. It wasn't a prank. It was a statement, along with calling you an a-hole well before you took away his college fund. Now he can suffer the consequences of his own actions. He can find ways to fund his own college education. Lots of people don't have parents that pay. I didn't. I worked, applied for grants and scholarships, and even took out a small student loan to cover the rest. He can do the same thing like millions of people have to do who don't have college funds from their parents. Stand your ground. Keep your boundaries. I would not give him the money for college. Spend it on yourself instead. Perhaps invest it. I, 24 male, am marrying 23 female Sarah next June, and I want to invite my older sister, but Sarah won't allow me to invite her. For some context, when I was 4, my mom and dad divorced, and a year later my mom remarried Dan. Dan had a daughter, Julie, 24 male, and we became really good friends. She's been my best friend since then, and we've been inseparable. A few years ago, my mom and Dan divorced, so me and Julie were no longer family. I still think of her as my older sister, and my grandma invites her to family gatherings. I met Sarah 6 years ago as she was Julie's friend. Sarah is the sun to my life, and I don't know what I could ever do without her. I always smile whenever I think about her, and there's nothing I like more than her. When we started dating, I introduced her to my extended family, and everyone loved her. When Dan and my mom were about to divorce, Sarah finds out that Julie and I weren't related by blood. I admit that this was my mistake, and that I should have told her that we weren't related. After Sarah found out, she started distancing herself from both me and Julie. I tried talking to her and asking if everything was okay. A month later, she tells me that she's fine and was just surprised by what happened. I continued to press her with questions, but after a few months, I stopped, thinking that she just needed some space to think about what had happened. 2 years later, I proposed to Sarah, and she said yes. We had planned everything, and when we started talking about wedding guests, she told me that I could not invite Julie. I was really confused and asked if she was going to invite Julie face-to-face, or if she wanted to surprise her. Sarah told me that she doesn't want Julie to be at the wedding at all, and that if I want to marry her, that we have to cut contact. I was really confused and asked what she meant, as Julie was my sister, and I couldn't cut contact for no reason. She didn't reply and continued to tell me the same thing over and over again. I really love Sarah, and my family loves her too, but Julie is my family even if we're not blood related. I'm not sure on what I should do, as I really can't imagine a life without Sarah, but I can't cut Julie out of my life for a reason I don't even know. I've been asking Sarah to give me a reason as to why I can't invite her, but she hasn't told me anything. Am I the a-hole for wanting to invite my sister to our wedding? Well, to me it's obvious that Sarah's jealous and thinks something might happen between OP and Julie at some point. Isn't that obvious? It is OP's wedding too, and OP should be able to invite the people important to him. OP should not cut Julie out of his life. So he needs to present the ultimatum back to Sarah. If she loves OP and wants to marry him, then it's with Julie being there and involved in his life. And now let's hear the community's opinion. B. Jackson says, not the a-hole. It is a serious red flag that Sarah wants you to cut Julie out of your life. I would actually put the marriage on hold until she can adequately communicate what her issue is. Julie not being your blood sister isn't a big deal at all. My guess is that Sarah's jealous that you and Julie are close, but she accepted it because she thought you were blood siblings. But now she is insecure about your friendship. You may be so in love with Sarah that you've ignored her character flaws, insecurities, and bad behavior. She's been hurting Julie with her behavior, and she either lacks the smarts or the emotional intelligence to give a halfway decent excuse. Sarah doesn't sound like a good friend, and might be a toxic, controlling wife. Superman 530 says, not the a-hole. Dude, your fiancé is showing some major toxic, controlling tendencies here. You're not blood related to your stepsister. However, that doesn't mean you want to sleep with her, or that your relationship with her should be threatening to your partner. Slow down and really talk this out with your fiancé, and try to see this situation clearly. My father was not a very warm and caring father when my siblings and I, all in our 20s now, were young. I'm the youngest, and I was only 8 when we all found out he was having an affair with a woman he worked with. The affair only came out because the affair partner grew tired of our father staying married to Mom and showed no signs of being willing to divorce Mom for her. So she took measures into her own hands and confronted Mom with the truth. My siblings and I were all home at the time. It blindsided my mom significantly because while she knew our father worked a lot, he had always been attentive as a spouse to her, and he could play pretend that he was invested in his kids. My mom's marriage to him fell apart, and she moved out of his house with us, and we started anew. My father fought for shared custody. I often wonder if this was to punish her or us or something, because it's not like he had any role in our lives at all. But he was awarded shared custody. His affair partner threw herself into this role of stepmom, and she acted like she was some new person who had no bad history with us, our family. She even ignored the fact she destroyed our mom's heart right in front of us. We did not like her, and within 2 years, she told our father she no longer wanted us around anymore because all we did was pick on her and make her feel like she was some unimportant mistake he made. And she was also bothered by the fact none of us would acknowledge her as our father's wife or our stepmom. When asked, we would always say she was our father's affair partner. This wasn't something she wanted following her around or thrown in her face a lot. So we had no contact with our father for more than a decade. I'm 22 now. Recently, the affair partner made contact to inform us that our father had suffered several health complications, and he is now ill and disabled. My oldest brother confirmed this is true and is aware of which hospital he's currently in. None of us had any interest in seeing him, and we expressed this, though not to her, to our father's sister. His affair partner decided my siblings would never give in, but she knew a much younger me had a hope for a better relationship with my dad, and she tried to say she couldn't care for him and the 4 young children they have under the age of 7, and that my family needs me. I told her clearly that they were not my family, and that she married him, so she was responsible for caring for him now that he cannot care for himself, and I told her I would not help, and did not care how tough it was for them. Her response was full of anger, but she in not so many words called me an a-hole. I ignored her, but she again insulted me and claimed that I was sick and cruel for my stance. Am I the a-hole? Hydrangea Frog says, not the a-hole. Your dad made the choice to be crappy to your family, and his affair partner chose to marry him. That's the whole in sickness and in health marriage thing she seems to have forgotten about. Overall Scholar says, not the a-hole. She wanted your dad. She took your dad. She didn't want his kids around, and he obliged. You nor your siblings had any say in your relationship with your dad. She wanted him, and now that things are hard, she wants his kids back in his life. Bad decisions have consequences. She's now getting hers. Enthusiasm Low says, you are not the a-hole. Life has consequences, and it's her problem to deal with those consequences. Having grown up in a broken apart family by infidelity and then marriage to the cheating partner, I am constantly amazed at the mentality of we did what felt best for us, but now we are due your complete love, acceptance, and support. She dug the hole she now finds herself in. Don't help dig her out.